Craft beers and specialty drinks are what's in right now in the local bar scene, but bar owners in Ohio are crying foul that the state is about to stop selling many liquors. It's called the purge, and this is how owners say it's going to impact their business.
The appeal of craft cocktails has just grown.
At the Overlook Lodge,
it's on the same trajectory as craft beer.
The character of the bar,
slow jam, old time, and allspice dram,
is often served by the glass.
It's a more measured, more calculated way of making cocktails, and I think that's what we've seen the growth in, especially here in Cincinnati.
Craft cocktails use specialty spirits like these, many of which will no longer be available in Ohio to bar owners.
The Great Purge, as we're calling it, is something that's a relatively recent phenomenon.
The purge is the state deciding to stop selling some 700 different spirits to bars and restaurants.
State of Ohio being what we call a control state, meaning the state of Ohio determines what legally can come in and be sold either to liquor stores or through bars.
They want to do it by quantity. Like, how many bottles of this are we selling? And for a lot of these boutique ingredients that we use, you're not using more than 2 spoonfuls of something.
And a lot of these craft spirits that aren't selling high volume will be delisted.
We have about 4 months to be able to show the state that these are viable.
Carrie Francis from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control told WCPO.com the reduction is the first in the last 3 years. She continued, the state has added nearly 1,000 products while not removing any during that time.
We need a change in our system, and there is a blueprint for this. It's called every other state in America. Like, you know, we're not asking them to reinvent the wheel.
Consumers could face not finding their favorite drink when they go to their local bar in Ohio.
The author on WCPO.com is Brian Mangy joins us now. And one of the things that's interesting to me, and initially when we worked on the story together, my first thought was, is this significant enough to be worried about from the standpoint of these liquors not being available anymore?
Yeah, you know, it actually is a small percentage as far as the liquors that have purged. They're like 4%, only represent 4% of all sales in the state of Ohio. Mm-hmm. But what they do offer is for the connoisseur and the people who like a particular type of drink or brandy or bourbon, and from that aspect, it does have an impact, and it is a growing segment of liquor sales in the state of Ohio. So is it huge right now? No, but it does kind of impede a growing trend that's happening both here and across the country.
And another one of the arguments that was made to me, though, is that some of these craft spirits, one bottle is the equivalent of selling 5 bottles of, like, say, Absolute vodka. Oh, yeah. So the cost difference isn't really much the same. They make the same amount. It's the volume difference that seems to be the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a craft cocktail bartender, I mean, there is an all-dram spice. It's something that just, you're not going to go and buy a 5th of it or a bottle to take home. Right. But it adds that flavor and pop to your favorite cocktail that you get at a local bar.
I think it's interesting. You interview in your story a bar owner, Molly Wellman, who has establishments both in Ohio and Kentucky. Did she talk about basically the difference between the two?
Yeah, she owns Old Kentucky Bourbon Bar over in Covington, and there she says there are still some hurdles, some steps, but it's a lot easier for her to get like that rare bottle of bourbon or whatever stocked in her bar in Kentucky, where it's a lot more difficult to nearly impossible to do it here in Ohio because of the laws.
All right. So Brian Maines has his article up running right now on our website. You could read it for yourself at WCPO.com.